Hello, travelers. Welcome to the Copper Fox Inn, where we are talking about Unearthed Arcana class feature variants. I am Thomas the Human Bard, and I'm joined by
Onag the half-orc barbarian. You can't say
Aha,
the word
and
turn.
it where you am
Turn or am or aim.
barbarian. Today we are on a side quest.
Radiant side quest.
And as part of looking over this Unearthed Arcana about class feature variants, we are discussing the Sorcerer and the changes made to the Sorcerer features from the Player's Handbook. Let's talk about it. First off, Sorcerers get an enhanced spell list. They get new spells added to their spell list. Are there any things that stick out from this to you, Onog?
Well, there's certainly a lot more fire spells, and as my primary sorcerer character that I did create is a pyromancer, he's definitely getting a boost from this.
For sure.
Fire shield, grease, flaming blade, flaming sphere, like all that's good stuff. All that's good pyromancer stuff.
Yes.
Once again, if you're not being a pyromancer, go be a wizard. It's kind of what
No,
this...
you picked the wrong class.
You picked the wrong class, go be a wizard if you want to be something that isn't a pyromancer, according to this, especially this new addition to the sorcerer spells.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, there's not all that much else interested in it. They get Primal Savagery from Xanathar's Guide. What do you think of 9th level Foresight?
That's super cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things where it's just like, in my personal opinion, this is like this isn't even so much my analysis of the scenario, but like, why would you pick something that isn't Wish?
Yeah.
But Foresight
You got
is
a 9th
actually
level spell.
is a super cool spell to have access to, kind of a thing.
For sure. All right. Next we have Spell Versatility. Enhances spell casting. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace one spell you learned from this spellcasting feature with another spell from the Sorcerer's spell list.
I just had a revelation.
It must be a new. It must be the same level. What's your revelation on?
So, first of all, the main problem with sorcerers that people run into is the availability of spells to them, and spell versatility even more so than like the other spellcasting classes like bards or anybody else that gets this. Sorcerer, it's so important that they have them. Even if like this whole thing doesn't get implemented, I will allow spell versatility to be something that sorcerers have access to in any of my games going forward. Because like
Just because it frees them up in their spell choice.
it just frees them up in their spell choice, because it's like I said, like my sorcerer I made was a pyromancer. But then that meant like if I wanted to have damaging spells that I couldn't have utility spells. But this allows them to go, all right, maybe I can swap this out. Maybe I can channel this energy into something more useful for this scenario that we're going to be coming up against today. But the real...
If you realize you're going to be doing nothing but social scenarios for the next couple days, you don't need to have Fireball prepared every one of those days.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
you can swap that out. But the real reason I had an epiphany, because we were talking about 9th level spells and Wish, is the primary risk with taking Wish as a sorcerer, or like particularly as bard still, but like as a sorcerer, is that if you use Wish for any of its non like spell augmentation abilities, for its like reality warping abilities, you run the risk of like never being able to cast Wish again.
Yep.
But with the spell versatility, you can then
swap it out.
You can take a short rest and go, all right, I don't ever need to cast Wish again, so I'm going to just pick Meteor Storm.
A long rest, but yeah.
A long rest, sorry.
Short rest, that'd be so
A short
good.
little long rest.
It wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be that much better. It'd be fine. Yeah, no, that's actually a great point, that you can never cast Wish again. You really wasted this spell slot, idiot. And it's like, well, okay, I'll take Foresight now.
Yeah, I'll just switch out to Foresight. It's like, oh,
fair enough.
Okay,
fair enough.
So yeah, so that's it's one of those scenarios where it's just like it's the same thing every spellcaster sort of got, but because of the limitations that have already been implemented on the sorcerer, spell versatility is so much more useful on them, especially because Wizards of the Coast refuses to give any sorcerer subclass expanded spell lists, but I've talked about that before. So
yeah. All right, Font of Magic options. Second level sorcerer feature enhances Font of Magic. So these are new options for your Font of Magic feature. When you gain the Font of Magic feature, you get access to the following ways to spend your sorcery points. Empowering Reserves. When you make an ability check on your turn, you can spend 2 sorcery points to gain advantage on the check. Imbuing Touch. As an action, you can touch one non-magical weapon and spend 2 sorcery points to imbue it with magic for 1 minute. For the duration, the weapon is considered magical for the purpose of overcoming immunity and resistance to non-magical attacks. Sorcerer's Fortitude. As an action, you can spend any number of sorcery points to roll a d4 for each point spent. You gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the total roll. All right, of these 3, which one's the good one? What do you think?
Well, empowering reserves is always useful. That is always something. You do have to make it before you make the ability check. So, but that's something good to have, where it's like, I need to pass this persuasion check. I find it interesting, particularly while I was looking online to kind of gauge how people were reacting to this Unearthed Arcana. One of the primary complaints is like a lot of different spellcaster groups either already had ways to recover at least some of their resources on a short rest, and the ones that didn't all just got one. Was particularly with the channel divinity that allows them, the paladin and the cleric, to recover spell slots. And now it is the sorcerer is the only one that doesn't recover any class feature or any resource on a short rest. And I find it interesting that they gave them Sorcerer's Fortitude, basically a way to gain temporary hit points and or quote unquote pseudo heal, before they gave them something that allowed them to recover on anything on a short rest.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting.
And it's like you gave the sorcerer a heal before you gave them before you let them take a nap.
1 sorcery point back or something. Yeah.
I think like their 20th level ability allows them to recover like some sorcery points, but it's like it's their capstone ability, and if you're building a sorcerer, you're not going to level 20. You're doing the intelligent thing and multi-classing into warlock.
Fair enough.
Which allows you, even just like a dip of 2 or even 3 levels, allows you to recover spell slots and sorcery points on a short rest, which is what the entire premise of the coffee lock build is designed around.
I think that the imbuing touch option is like, it doesn't seem all that powerful or interesting.
It's helpful in a pinch. It's very situational. Yeah.
Specifically, if you need a magical weapon to win a fight or something, that's going to matter. But I think there's also some benefit to, you could like kit out a bunch of people with magical weapons at higher levels. You could you could like make 8 magical weapons and give them to, a group of villagers that's coming with you to go attack the vampire.
You're going to go, fight the vampire or the werewolves, and nobody has silver. And it's like, well, yes, I'm decking everybody out.
Yeah, like that. I think that's a place where this would, more than you using it, like you're eventually gonna get a magic weapon. I mean, that's how D&D works. Everyone eventually gets magic weapons. But I think this is more for gifting
through
them
the rules of entropy alone. Like you will get a magic weapon.
All things tend towards magic weapons. But this is for like, okay, we have this random NPC that we need to protect here. Have this sword. It's gonna be magic for a minute, like while we're in this fight. At least you'll be able to do something.
Yeah. And that's one of those things where it like allows you the option to allow those people who would have been useless to feel like they are contributing.
Yeah. Can you touch natural weapons? Can you touch a wolf's claws? That is the perfect sound of a DM at the end of his rope. Let's move on to the next feature, meta magic options. 3rd level sorcerer feature enhances meta magic. New meta magics, here we go.
Yeah.
Elemental spell. Bah, 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 bah. When you cast a spell that deals a type of damage from the following list, you can spend 1 sorcery point. It's cheap too. To change that damage type to one of the other listed types. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder. Looks like your pyromancer just got every spell in the game.
Yeah. Or looks like your storm sorcerer can now cast any number of spells.
Yeah.
As opposed to just lightning bolt and thunder wave.
Somebody was going through and like listing all the funny, you can make a thunderball or cold spray, or like it was just like adjusting the names based on you can have cold bolt.
But like outside of like specific like niche build like pyromancers or storm sorcerers, like this allows so much versatility of like, say my pyromancer went up against a red dragon. Oops, I guess he's immune to my primary source of damage unless I make it a lightning ball.
Yeah, now you can cast Lightning Ball. There is an interesting distinction now that must be made forevermore between Lightning Bolt and Thunderbolt.
Because
that's just a little.
Those are different spells now, you, folks. I will now cast Thunderbolt. What? Boom!
It's a line of thunder.
What does that mean?
It deals thunder damage.
It's so loud.
It's a dubstep cannon. That's what it is. Oh, there you go.
It's just you just pull out some speakers.
Some subwoofers. Okay, Seeking Spell. When you cast a spell that requires you to make a spell attack roll, or that forces a target to make a dexterity saving throw, you can spend 1 sorcery point to ignore the effects of half and 3/4 cover against targets of the spell.
So yeah, it's just
shoot around cover.
There is
you
like
can
a
curve the bullet
feat that lets you sort of do this, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Spell Sniper. When you cast a spell that requires you to make an attack roll, the spell's range is doubled. Your ranged spell attacks ignore half cover and 3/4 cover. So there is sort of a feat that does this, but it doesn't do it for the area effect attacks, which is interesting. So like, I don't know whether or not, if you really need this effect, whether or not taking it as a meta magic really is worth its time, particularly because there are, as part of the enhancement, there are no additional meta magics you gain as you level up. You still only get like the first 2 and then 2 more, I think, ultimately over the course of the game. So it's like something like this, it's much more situational than any of the others. So honestly, it's probably not that good of a use of your
I don't think it's a standout. It's fine.
But it's nice that the option is there if you didn't want to take that feat, but instead wanted to spend sorcery points every turn instead of taking that feat. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, just take the feat. Just take the feat.
For sure.
Save your sorcery points for changing that acid ball into just more fire.
Fireball. Unerring Spell. If you make an attack roll for a spell and miss, you can spend 2 sorcery points to re-roll the attack roll. You must use the result of the second roll. You can use Unerring Spell even if you've already used a different metamagic option during the casting of the spell.
Now, this is a metamagic. That is so useful.
Ooh, that's the good stuff.
Being able to do it. It's not just like you use the sorcery point to give yourself advantage. It is like, you missed, make the attack again. So if you already had advantage, it's like 4 attacks. You know?
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we can overstate how good that is.
Yeah, being able to just try again breaks action economy so in such a wonderful way.
Yeah, it's really good. That's all of it, though. That's all the features for Sorcerer. Overall, do you think that this changes how you're going to play a Sorcerer going forward?
It certainly makes the Storm Sorcerer much more viable because all of their abilities specify you have to be casting a spell that does lightning or thunder damage. This makes the elemental meta magic is a guaranteed pick by any Storm Sorcerer. Additionally, I mean, like that's honestly my primary takeaway. The Fortitude is an interesting option because sorcerers were already kind of more, especially like dragon-blooded sorcerers are already more healthy than your standard full cast or your standard wizard. This just makes them even more kind of tankier, which is an interesting way to go if you want to like make different unconventional sorcerer builds.
Sure. I think that's what it does. I think it really frees it up for your sorcerer to be more what you were hoping for. You wanted to be a cold-focused sorcerer who does like other interesting things. That lets you do that.
Elemental abilities to be like completely applied everywhere, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think it's really good. So yeah, that's the Sorcerer. Comment below what you thought about these changes, how this is going to change your Sorcerer. Let us know if you think these magic font of magic options or meta magic options are good enough additions, or if some of them could be improved. Which ones you like the most? Comment below. Let us know. Give us a like, subscribe for more content, and stick around for the next episode where we talk about the Warlock. This is another kind of hefty one, so
Yeah,
buckle up, folks.
I didn't know the Warlock apparently needed a page and a half.
Yeah, I thought the Warlock was fine already, but I guess it wasn't? Question mark? Or is it just too good now?
Tune in
We'll
next
see.
time to find out.
Whoa, cliffhanger ending. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep on adventuring.